What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Blox Realms back at it again in Grow a Garden. In today's video we will go ahead and compare all the transcendent seeds in Grow a Garden. Now disclaimer, we are not going to be comparing the Bone Blossom because I did not join the game during that time frame. So we're going to do the latest transcendent seeds. So what we're going to do is we have them already grown here. What we're going to focus on is their visual looks. How much are they base wise, and ultimately which one's the best overall, price and looks wise. So let's go ahead and start off with Crimson Thorn. So if we go straight to the Crimson Thorn, which is this one right here, we will see that it's technically a glowing spiral with these little leaves, I would like to call them, with leaves hanging off of them. Now if I put it into perspective right here, as we can see, we have a couple of Crimson Thorns already developed, and the plant has this ombre effect, which we have another plant that has that ombre effect, which we will showcase in a little bit. Now, when it comes down to the Crimson Thorn, I definitely feel it's a basic concept. There's not really a huge wow factor to it. Definitely the ombre effect is a wow factor, but not enough. Or the average weight for it is around 6 kg. So this is how it looks like. Quite simple, quite straightforward. Almost reminds me of a spearmint leaf, but it also has that ombre effect. So let's go ahead and go here, talk to Uncle Steven. How much is this worth? 235,000 shekels. So that is actually not bad to be a transcendent seed, and to be the first one that was introduced to us after the Bone Blossom is pretty nice actually. So that is the Crimson Thorn. Now, what are my ratings on it? Visual wise, I would give it a 5 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of how it looks visually. I definitely believe they could have done a little bit better, but the price wise is definitely a 9 out of 10. So moving on to the next plant is our maple resin. So this one was introduced to us during the fall event. So I'm super excited about this one. So let's see, let's go ahead and pick it up. Well, first off, let's go ahead and rate the visuals. I got super lucky and I got this humongous plant right here. As you guys can see, look at how huge that is. So I definitely like the visuals on it. I like the neon parts on the branches. I like the different colors on the leaves. Definitely an autumn plant. The fruit reminds me of a snail. It's definitely neon and glowy as well. So definitely one of my favorites on the higher end. I definitely really like it. And if we look up, you'll see that I have a maple resin with lots of mutation on it. That's going to be saved for another video, so stay tuned for that. And something we could tell is that all these transcendent seeds are super expensive, but you know what isn't? Hitting that subscribe button. So make sure to subscribe to support the channel. So the maple resin is valued at 351,000 shekels. So now it's beating the Crimson Thorn, but definitely one of my favorites. So visually I rated a 10 out of 10. I really like the maple resin and its details. On the base value, it's definitely a 10 out of 10 as it is highly valuable. Alright, so next up is our Great Pumpkin. So visually wise, it's more on the simpler side. It definitely has these effects, these ghosty effects to it. And something that is good to mention is that this was the very first plant that was introduced in Grow a Garden that gives a mutation to nearby plants. So hence to why when I hover my mouse over it, the green ring appears. So definitely that's a 1 point towards the Great Pumpkin as it gives other plants mutations, which is really good. So let's go ahead and pick it up, and this is how it looks like. Very simple, almost reminds me as the jack-o'-lantern. So let's go ahead and see its price. How much is this worth? 165,000 shekels. So definitely a downgrade from the other transcendents we've seen. So visually wise, I rate it a actual 4 out of 10. It's not 100% the best looking. It's quite simple, straightforward. And for the base price, once again, I would have to match it 4 out of 10 as we've seen better. And definitely for a plant that gives a mutation, I would expect a higher value. So moving on to our next transcendent, which was introduced to us, the same as the Great Pumpkin, is the Weeping Branch. How can I say this? This was a very controversial plant or transcendent because of the fact of how basic and weird it looks. So definitely visually wise, I have to give it a 3 out of 10. It definitely doesn't fit a transcendent expectation, if that makes sense. And this is the fruit right here, so we're gonna go ahead and clean that one off, as it does have a mutation on it. We're gonna clean it and we're gonna pick it up. So technically what it is just a branch. Looks almost like a pretzel stick, but other than that, I definitely feel like visually wise they could have done a little bit better during the spooky season. I've definitely heard mixed, you know, opinions regarding it. So let's go ahead and see how much is it worth. The pretzel stick, how much is this worth? 197,000 shekels. So it both is not visually appealing, and the base value is not that great as well. So for the base value, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10, as it is better than the Great Pumpkin. But visually, I really prefer the Great Pumpkin over the Weeping Branch, which everyone to their own, but you know, that's how that is. So moving on to our next Transcendent is the Trinity Fruit. This one was introduced to us during the Safari event, which I was super happy about. Now off the bat, I really like its visuals. So visually, 9 out of 10. I like the neon spikes coming out of it. I like the twisted branches, and I like the color on it too. So definitely a 9 out of 10 visually wise. So this is how the fruit looks like. It matches the plant vibe with the neon sticks off of it. It reminds me almost like a mango, but with the little spikes on it. So let's go ahead and see how much it is worth. Let's see if it gives us a good score with its base price. How much is this worth? 140,000 shekels. Now that wasn't that great. Now visually it's a 9 out of 10. Base wise, it's a 3 out of 10. They should have definitely had it more valuable, as the plant looks amazing, and 2, the fruit looks really good too. So although it's a 9 out of 10 visually, it's unfortunately a 3 out of 10 base price or valuable wise. So definitely doesn't live up to the expectations, but still one of my personal favorites visually. So moving on to our last Transcendent Seed, which was just introduced to us, which is the Zebrazinkle. Now I'm gonna show you this plant. I'm gonna let that sink in for a little bit. Alright, so this is technically a straight Crimson Thorn, except with the same ombre effect and with just branches. So it's like if the Weeping Branch and the Crimson Thorn had a baby. Yeah, that's what the Zebrazinkle is. So now me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the visuals. I personally think this one is the worst out of all of the Transcendent Seeds. This is definitely a 2 out of 10. Because I don't feel there's no creativity behind it. Not to mention, when a developer linked the Zebrazinkle, it had a way better effect to it. Now when we were introduced to this, it was kind of disappointing. But like, look at this. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you. Alright, so like, look at this. This is what we're working with. A log. Alright, so let's see the base price. Maybe the base price is way better. 250,000 shekels. So not bad. Definitely in the same range as the Crimson Thorn. So visually, 2 out of 10. That is flat rate. Doesn't change my opinion on it. However, the base price on it, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10, as it is in the 250,000 shekel mark. So definitely base price is worth it. Visually, not so much. So those are all the Transcendent Seeds. Of course, we are excluding the Bone Blossom, as I don't have that seed. Drum roll please. The ultimate winner is the Maple Resin. The base price is really good, and the visuals is very good. So 10 out of 10 plant. Out of all the Transcendents out there, the Maple Resin is given the crown. Unless they come out with a new Transcendent Seed that is way better than the Maple Resin, I'm sticking to my autumn vibes, and I'm sticking with the Maple Resin. So make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel to show some support, because it is free. Make sure to turn on notifications so you get notified when I release a new video. Make sure to like and comment down below what is your favorite Transcendent Seed and which one do you think is worth it. And I'll see y'all next time. Keep on gaming on.